I don't mention webcam until after I've had sex with the girl. If you're on dates and you're trying to mention it, it just doesn't work. It puts them off. I'd never do that. That's disgusting. I'm not a whore.
Yeah, that's the right reaction. Protect your purity, protect your human dignity. And the fact that Tate has all of this planned out, like he's literally saying it like a step-by-step program, guys. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Red Top Report. I'm your host, Joe Enders, and what we have been seeing probably over the past year now is Andrew Tate and his legal battle for sex trafficking, rape. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff going on in there. There's even some allegations that he was involved in trafficking minors as well. I mean, you've heard about this, right, Ronan?
Yeah, man. It's been about, I know we covered it about 6 months ago. And yeah, these charges they're stacking up now.
Yeah, and then look, I'm not gonna say that this man is guilty de facto, but we are gonna be talking on a broader topic here. We're not just gonna be talking about Andrew Tate. We're gonna bring up Andrew Tate and what's been going on with him, but I want to talk about pornography generally this episode. And what should we do with pornographers, and just kind of, I guess, illuminate people on how depraved the actual industry itself is. So just to go through this article about Andrew Tate, you have the headline, right? I mean, here's what happened recently. Andrew Tate charged with rape and human trafficking. And then this is his brother as well, who I believe is under similar charges. I don't know if they're the exact same charges. He's under similar charges as well. Now, I have the article in front of me, and here's what the article says. It says, controversial influencer Andrew Tate has been charged in Romania with rape, human trafficking, and forming an organized crime group to sexually exploit women. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but he owned a camgirls site, which is webcam pornography, where he would try to bring women in and get them to do sexual acts on camera and men online from all overseas, wherever they're doing it, would pay to make sure that to pay for that pornographic content. And Andrew Tate says that he's innocent of, these charges of human trafficking. He says right here, I love this country, speaking about Romania, and I look forward to being found innocent. So he seems like he's not worried about this. He thinks he's innocent in this scenario. I'm not going to say he's guilty. I can't say that. But the indictment deposited with the Bucharest court says that the 4 defendants formed an organized criminal group in 2021 to commit human trafficking in Romania, but also in other countries, including the US and the UK. And that I actually can corroborate that, because in the last video, he was talking about doing his webcam pornography business in the UK. So at least in the UK, I know that is actually factual. Now, we also says it names 7 alleged victims who say they were recruited by the Tate brothers through false promises of love and marriage. Now, this is called the lover boy method by a lot of, I think it's criminologists would be the word, but a lot of people who study sex trafficking, where men will lure in women with promises of love and being taken care of financially and stuff like that in exchange for sexual exploitation for money. I don't know how much I buy that. I'm back and forth on that whole argument, because look, if you're an adult woman, you are accountable for your decisions. And if you are manipulated by a man and get into a situation, you still ultimately do have the choice, unless you're threatened with violence or anything like that, which I think that's a possibility that something like that could have happened. I mean, there is a video, albeit he says it was a consensual sexual experience, where he was like slapping a woman in the face and stuff like that. Now, I don't care what you believe about that. If you find it sexually gratifying to slap and beat women, I mean, there's something disordered going on there. Maybe she wanted him to do it. That's disordered on her end too. Sadomasochism, pretty disordered sexual thing. Something bad happened to you as a kid. That's my guess. But anyways, it says the alleged victims were later taken to buildings in Ilfov County. Wow, that's a tough one. In Romania, where they were intimidated. So this is what I'm talking about. If they were intimidated, this is probably the legal question here. Intimidated, placed under constant surveillance and control, and forced into debt, according to a statement from Romanian prosecutors. So if the Tate brothers were doing that, or they're like making it so that they literally are incapable of leaving unless they do sexual things to make money that benefits the woman to make enough money to pay off her debts or whatever like that, and in order for them to leave the place in general, yeah, that is sexual exploitation. That's certainly sex trafficking. It says, the media team for the Tate brothers said, while this news is undoubtedly predictable, we embrace the opportunity it presents to demonstrate their innocence and vindicate their reputation. Look, we'll see what happens in court. They're saying that they didn't do these intimidation tactics. They didn't do any of these other things. This is going to be decided in court, and we're going to have to accept the ruling whichever way it goes. There are also separate charges. This is what's really interesting. Still under investigation, which could lead to a separate indictment, including money laundering and trafficking of minors. Now, I don't care what, this is just my personal opinion. I don't care what it is. If you're sex trafficking minors in any capacity, you get the rope. You get a rope tied around your neck with a millstone attached to it, and you get cast into the sea, as our blessed Lord would say. I want you put to death for something like that. That's disgusting and it's depraved. There's a lot to this story. I am inclined to believe there's some legitimacy to these charges, though. If you could put it up, we have a video of him basically admitting to doing certain sexual grooming tactics on a lot of the women he was recruiting to do this web service. Can you throw that up?
You cannot get a girl to work for you. So the recruitment process is the same as the PhD course. You message them on Instagram. The PhD course is my recruitment system. I don't mention webcam until after I've had sex with the girl. If you're on dates and you're trying to mention it, it just doesn't work. It puts them all. I never do that. That's disgusting. I'm not a whore. It's just not gonna work.
Any woman that has that initial reaction to that, first of all, yeah, that's the right reaction. Protect your purity, protect your human dignity, and don't let men like that treat you as an object of, either sexual gratification or an object of sexual, of sexual abuse, which is basically, becoming, and that's the worst part. The woman isn't only, abusing her own body, she's seducing others to abuse their bodies as well. And the fact that Tate has all of this planned out, like he's literally saying it like a step-by-step program, guys. Ronan, he's like going through it. Oh, here's how you lure them in to make them do these this sex work for you to make you money.
Yeah, this is literally like a how-to on how to groom. How to, well, yeah, not just that, but as we go on too, it's like how to groom, how to make a camgirl's website, essentially.
Yeah. Anyway, continue on. I want everybody to hear this.
You continue as normal, no mention of webcam. You girl. After you girl, you do the PhD test. If she passes the PhD test and she wants to be with you, then you start mentioning things like, yeah, but you're always busy. You're always at work. You can come work for me. So, as I said, you cannot try and approach girls to do webcam. Hi, do you want to do webcam? It's bullshit. It doesn't work. No one's going to say yes. And any girl who does say yes is doing it. She doesn't like you. She doesn't know you. She doesn't love you. She's saying yes purely for money. Any girl who wants money that bad is going to skank you and leave you when she realizes you get a big cut of it. So even if you do get a girl to say yes that way, even if you do say to a girl, look, let's make some money.
Pause. So this is like literally describing this lover boy method that he's using. He's literally saying, yes, I am using this lover boy message. I'm going to make them think that I love them so I can manipulate them to make money for me. That's literally what he's saying here. Now, any woman that says yes to that, I do think that she's accountable for that decision to a certain extent, I don't think that women suddenly are incapable of making logical decisions just because a man had sex with them. They're not incapable of saying, well, no, I have human dignity. I'm not going to do cam work. I don't care if I slept with you and I think you love me. It doesn't matter. You just lose your reason? No, I don't fully buy that. However, even if she is accountable for that decision, that doesn't change the fact that he is engaging in manipulative tactics to make money off of prostituting women on the internet. And he's saying it, and he's doing it in a depraved way by toying with women's emotions, which is the definition of objectifying somebody, which is exactly what the Catechism preaches against. I mean, this is one of the reasons that the Catholic Church is opposed to contraception, because it's mutual masturbation. You're treating, there's no openness to life involved in the act that is the sexual act between a husband and a wife. If you're using contraception, it's literally only for the purpose of mutual masturbation. Your only end is orgasm, for causing that for one another. It's treating each other as a sexual object, you know. And that's exactly what Tate's doing here, except to a much darker and more extreme condition. So let's continue it.
She's only in it for the money. She's not in it to please you. And if she's only in it for the money, she's going to get pissed off with her cut. Because they're going to Google up how much a token's worth, how many tokens they made, and all that shit. And get pissed off with their cut. Remember the tax things. You want to pay them 30% instead of 50%. It's important for your profitability. So you don't want a girl who's in it for money. You want a girl who's in it to be with you. So you meet a girl, you take her on dates, you or whatever. She passes the PhD test. Then you start saying things like, oh yeah, but you're always working. I have to do some traveling and you can't come. I want to bring you with me. Traveling is a great one because the thing about this business is mobile. If you can find a good Airbnb with good internet, you can run it somewhere else. So it's a good little caveat to throw in. Oh, and you're always working. Why don't you work for me so we spend more time together? Or if you doing what? So I'll have a webcam business. Oh, I don't want to do
Pause.
That. Okay.
You know how this, oh man, you know how this jerk is going around bragging, what color is your Bugatti?
Well, what color is your Bugatti?
And stuff like that, yelling at people. How he's like, yeah, you made your money doing this. I mean, good grief, you know. Joseph Stalin was pretty wealthy too, but nobody's like, oh wow, look at him, he took charge. Look at all that money he's got. Yeah, I don't care if you're a billionaire, if you made your money like this. I really don't. And that gets kind of to the general point of this entire video, which is, yes, these types of people should be in jail. They are a menace to society. They are a menace to proper feminine development in women. They destroy women, and then they discard women when they're done with them. What do you think? He just marries them for the rest of their lives? You think that they're just going to be all taken care of and well settled for all eternity out of the goodness of Tate's heart? What happens if they don't want to do it anymore? What happens if they're sick of being objectified? What if they're tired of feeling like a sexual meat puppet and they want out? What does Tate do? I don't know what he does, but I can't imagine it's something nice. I've heard videos about him getting in arguments with some of his cam girls, and he'd just throw them out onto the street. He'd throw all their stuff out of the house.
So got her. We're like high up. We're like high up, like here. It was just out the window. So throws out the window. Got her by her two arms and marched her out the door, locked the door. End of it.
Yeah, I'm sure that's great for society. I'm sure that woman's going to go get married and have a wonderful family with somebody. No, she's permanently damaged. And that's why this is wrong, and that's why it's criminal.
Hey, I know you don't want to do that, but listen. Come, let's have a meeting. Let's just talk about it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Fine. But let me explain it to you properly. In fact, I'll bring one of the girls who works for me. You're bottom the new girl. You go out for a nice dinner. Your bottom is the one who does the selling. You don't do the selling. The girl has to hear it from a girl. And this is where your bottom has to be trained. That's why I said it's so important to have a good first girl. My first girl was so good. It was easy. My girl would sit there and go, oh my God, before this I was a waitress and it was and now I do this and I make so much money and the guys all love me and they adore me and on my birthday they send me presents. I get so much money, blah, blah, blah. It's so much fun. And we stay at home and da-da-da-da. And we're going to go to Thailand soon. We're going to be working in Thailand and we're going to stay there for as long as you want. You should come with us. It's going to be so much fun. Da-da-da-da. Martinis, martinis, martinis. Bang. That's how you recruit girls.
Pause. Yeah. I don't want to listen to this anymore. So yeah, this is exactly the type of patriarchy you get when you abandon the Christian element. I'm just gonna that's what it is. When we had Dave Gordon on, he talked about how patriarchy will perdure no matter what, and he's correct about that. It's just always going to be how it is. Now, the question matters is what kind of patriarchy are you going to have? Patriarchy will always have men dominate all throughout nature, all throughout human history. It's considered a human universal, as that's how Gordon put it. And he's right about that. And so you have two options. You either have the Christian patriarchy, which says, yes, the woman is the helpmate of man. Yes, she is to be obedient to her husband or her father, depending on what state of life they're in all but sin. Now, there's a love aspect to that. There's a care for that person. There's a legitimate requirement for them to be devoted to the well-being of the person. This is a guy who's literally just using them for sex. I mean, good grief. You know, you think about it. You think about it this way. You know, he's treating women, you know, like fruit snacks that he could just feed to all of his friends and make something off of. Meanwhile, you know, the Christian patriarch is treating his wife like his most prized possession, something that is only that is so beautiful and so pure. Her full beauty is only for his eyes in the sexual act, in the marital act, all those things. There's a certain respect that comes around because of it. Now, this guy, you just don't have that. And he's just calling women his bottom B word and stuff like that. Like, come on, dude. It's just pimping. It's literally just pimping. He is a pimp. He's a pimp that just does it online. And that's it. That's the end of the discussion. There's nothing masculine about that. It's simple. It's almost wrathful domination of women. It's disgusting. I think it's extremely sinful. I despise that entire video. And like I said, this goes to a broader point, is that these sorts of people should be in jail. There's not a question about it. I mean, Ronan.
Lock them up.
Lock them up. Lock Tate up. I forget the human trafficking charges. Forget all the other things that he did. If he thinks that that's okay, I would want him in a prison cell. The fact that he owned a camgirl site makes me want him in a prison cell. And him just giving a little bit of background on what it was like to own a web pornography site makes me wish he was in jail, because that is a menace to society. That is not somebody that you want out on the streets, somebody that deserves freedom to do what he wishes, and certainly not the freedom to be a billionaire. Take away all his money too while you're at it, because he's made it through heinous means. Now, broadly speaking, pornography in general tends to just have this toxic patriarchy attitude towards it. And we have some quotes from some pornographers as well, don't we, Ronan?
That we do. Let's begin with the first one.
The only reason that Jews are in pornography is that we think Christ sucks. Catholicism sucks. Al Goldstein. Okay. So I'm not going to comment on that first sentence because I don't want to get canceled. But the rest of that statement is very telling about what the pornography industry really likes. And it likes the fact that it's anti-Christ. I think that's a real demonic moment from the pornographer's perspective. It's almost as if he was like a possessed person, having like the demon finally just spit out like one line of truth. One line of truth for once regarding that. And it is truly disgusting. And largely it is a very atheist industry. There's a lot of, and I'm sure that guy's not a religious Orthodox Jew. Let's be honest. Come on. Unless he's like a Dennis Prager one who thinks pornography is okay, I guess. But no, he's not like an Orthodox Jew like Ben Shapiro would say that pornography, masturbation, and stuff are all wrong. We know he's not one of those, but he's probably a secular Jew, which means that he doesn't believe in God probably at all. And if he does, it's such a vastly different God that just lets you do whatever you want that he might as well be Lucifer. So this shows just what it's, it is anti-Christ. It is about that. It's about militantly opposing the Christian world order, which says that you're not supposed to sexually objectify people. You're not supposed to sexually objectify people. That is the teaching of the Catholic Church. Producing any pornography is literally a subversion of that end. It's a subversion of that end. And it's drawn by greed because they make a lot of money doing this sort of stuff. You make a lot of money doing this kind of stuff. It's all rooted in greed. But it's also rooted in a sort of demonic obsession with domination and stuff. And you'll see that in this next quote that we have here. By the way, Al Goldstein was the founder of Screw magazine. It's like some porn magazine. I've never even heard of it, to be honest with you, but apparently it was pretty famous. So we have this guy. This is a porn producer. His name is Bill Marigold. I was researching this. This guy said that he would somebody asked him, would you let your daughter do porn? He said, not only would I let my daughter do porn, I might actually perform with her. So like, is this a second incest? Like these people literally are okay with anything, Ronan.
They're sick.
They're sick. Sickening and depraved and disgusting. That's Bill Marigold sleeping with his own daughter on camera in a pornography. Like, come on, guys. This is the industry that all these people that say, oh, don't jail pornographers because freedom, this, that, and the other. No, throw these degenerates in jail. Throw these degenerates in jail. Anyways, this is the other quote that we're going to put up. He says, I'd like to show what I believe the men want to see. Violence against women. I firmly believe that we serve a purpose by showing that. I mean, Ronan, yikes, dude, yikes. So, and this corroborates what Tate was saying, or what this corroborates what they were saying Tate was doing. This idea of, men like it when the porn is, harder and more violent and more dominating of women, because in the sexual act, men do naturally play a dominating role. However, what they're trying to do in porn is they're trying to make that increasingly obvious in that. So, they'll fake like rapes, they'll fake like all sorts of sexual assaults and things like that and stuff on camera. And a lot of times these women have to experience all of those things as a sexual assault or risk not being paid and not paying their bills. So these porn producers want women to be beaten, slapped, mistreated, and stuff like that. And as those things become more popular on the internet, you have more of this sadomasochist stuff, because a lot of the times this stuff is exposed to children when they're like 10 to 13 years old. And it damages them permanently. It damages their proper sexual development. They're not supposed to be experiencing sex until their wedding night. They're supposed to know what sex is and what the parts of the body do, perhaps at an earlier age. I don't see any problem with telling them that at an earlier age, how the talk of the birds and the bees, nothing wrong with that. However, engaging in that until marriage is abnormal. It's not how it's supposed to be done. It's sex misused. So these kids being exposed to this, I mean, honestly, I fail to see the difference outside of the screen separating the two people between a child watching two people having sex right in front of them, live action, is any different from them watching it on a phone. And we would consider one sexually abusive, something that would harm a kid mentally, but we don't when there's a screen separating the two. It's a technicality that doesn't matter. It's a technicality that doesn't matter. Just like the woman's aspect of this, where it says that women engaging in pornography are not prostituting because they're actually just acting in a movie. Like, what? That distinction doesn't matter. Are they selling sex? No, they're selling the movie. They're not selling the sex. So it's not technically, it's not prostitution. Yeah, it's prostitution. It's all prostitution.
I saw a tweet the other day. It was like explaining that, like OnlyFans girls or whatever, that sometimes they'll do things with their fans, and it's like when they do that, then that also becomes prostitution, because it's like I'm just making things with my fans to make content, and it's like those fans are paying you. And it's all legal. It's just legalized prostitution.
Yeah, it's all just technicalities. It's just so they can get away with doing things in the industry. If you think about it from a moral philosophy standpoint, it is literally the same thing. So if a child is watching you, a porn star, this is the message to all you porn stars out here, and we'll be talking about actually somebody that figured it out and left the lifestyle in a second. All you porn stars out there, keep that in mind. Any kid that watched you have sex on camera has been sexually abused, and you have sexually abused a child. Matter of fact, why don't we throw the porn stars in jail too? The ones that weren't trafficked, obviously. The ones that trafficked were victims. They're forced in the situation. Don't want to say that. But the ones that weren't forced, the ones that voluntarily engaged in it, jail. Man, I sound like that guy from Parks and Rec right now.
You do, yeah. We'll put up that bit.
They put you in jail right away. No trial, no nothing. Right to jail, right away.
But here's the thing. Some porn stars have seen the light. All right. Some porn stars have seen the light. And this one specifically, if I remember correctly, what was his name? It was Greg Patrick, I believe was his name. And he was a really famous male porn star. And he actually left it, converted to Christianity. Here's what he had to say.
I didn't even know if I could feel love anymore. I looked at women like objects. There was no emotion involved in the act of making love. What was that, making love? I had sex for money. I was a prostitute. I couldn't feel anymore.
And if that doesn't really sum up everything we've just said in this video, I really don't know what would. And at the end of the day, he's making a great case for why these people should be jailed. And personally, I think that I would think that he should be punished. Here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. Just because you seek forgiveness from Christ and your spiritual punishment is atoned for, right? Or whatever capacity. So you get a plenary indulgence. Let's say let's say you go to confession, you're absolved, you're in a state of grace. Great. You can receive the sacraments again. You're no longer damned to hell. That does not erase the evil that you've done on earth. That does not erase the temporal effects of your actions. Those still cry to heaven for justice. And that's why civil authorities, whether they've recanted of it or not, and this really just buttons everything up, because that's exactly what I think Tate's going to wind up doing in the end. He's going to say, this is before my conversion to Islam, where I started living a more chaste life, and I started believing all these different things about faith and God, and I was just a degenerate back then. Before he says that, fine. You still got to pay the tax, buddy. You still got to pay the justice tax. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter for him either. I wouldn't even defend Greg Patrick on this. I think he should do some time for this. I think that there is damage that he has done to people that will not go away, and that needs to be paid for. And it needs to be paid for temporally, just as the sin was committed temporally and harmed people temporally. It harmed them spiritually too, obviously. And it's argued that's kind of stuff is what would be atoned for in this instance. But no, you still got to get punished. I don't know, Ronan, you got anything else to add to this? I think this is a pretty succinct episode.
This is a good episode. Very comprehensive.
It was a comprehensive. Yeah, it was a very comprehensive episode. I think it really sums up many of the problems that do exist in the pornography industry today. And like I said, I'm not a fan of Andrew Tate. I understand he says a lot of things that are right about men, but that's definitely no reason to just rally behind him and just say he's innocent when he's clearly admitted. He's admitted to things that are morally depraved. And I have yet to hear him once, and maybe he did, and you can send me the video, to say he's sorry for what he's done and all the damage that he's inflicted on people. And that's it. That's really it. That is the bow around the present that says pornographers go to jail. And with that said, guys, that's all we got for this episode. Be sure to follow us on Instagram. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell. And also, be sure to hit all so you get all of our notifications so you know when we're dropping new content. And obviously, most importantly, you need to give us your money.
It's the first time I ever became a millionaire was with webcam.
And you can give us your money by going to buymeacoffee.com. That is buymeacoffee.com. You can do a single donation, or you can do a monthly Joe for Joe for only $5 a month. You gotta click that link in the description, guys. It's right under the video. And with that said, that's all we got for this episode. God bless.